Hello there everyone! Today I wanted to share with you my most recent painting project, 2 squads of badass bitches for Shatterpoint, the Star Wars miniature game which I'm sure you've already heard of. This game seemed to be popping off probably like a whole year ago or more, so I'm pretty late to the party, but I haven't seen anyone else paint these ladies with glowing UV. This is a very different style to my usual painting, because I'm actually following a brief. I'm sticking to the colours printed on the cards here, which is kind of freeing because I'm not making the decisions. It kind of feels like colouring in. This is more a quick overview than an in-depth tutorial on how to paint these guys. I'm just trying to give you a few ideas, because I also want to discuss playing the game towards the end of the video. I started by spraying the models in a zenithal highlight with black underneath and red from the top, focusing on their faces for the drama. I should probably mention which models I'm painting here. In Squad 1, it's the Nightsisters, Savage Press, and Mother Talzin. In Squad 2, it's Asajj Ventress, Aura Singh, and some Magna Guard. Aura Singh takes a keyword from a primary unit, so for my purposes, she's also a Dathmiri. I'm using their cards for reference as I'm painting, so I can match their vibes. First, I'm just painting their faces with a slightly thinned down ivory colour. I'm going to let the zenithal do most of the work here, because I like them looking like they're emerging from the shadows. So I'm just focusing on adding details mainly to the face and other defining characteristics. I used purple dipping inks to shade the Nightsisters. On Asajj, I painted some lines of white on the fabric of her gown so that the dipping ink had some pre-existing contrast to lay over, and I kept layering up until I liked the look of the skirt. And then I added the rest of the details. I feel like I don't really need to give much of a description about that, because like I said, it's basically just a paint by numbers, referencing the card for their belts and all the other bits and bobs. I do find it pretty difficult to paint the faces as small as this, so I use the help of a felt tip pen for the dots for the eyes. I find that their eyes are too small to try and do the whites of the eyes and the pupils. They often look better if you just shade the eye socket area with a wash and leave them in darkness. It looks more like a comic book style shadowy glare rather than a slightly uncanny googly eye. Then I got to the exciting part, clipping off these skinny plastic lightsabers and replacing them with some of this UV plastic stick thing. The place where I got them has now closed down, but I believe they're something that model shops commonly stock. Wayland Games calls them acrylic rods, so I guess that's what they are. Acrylic rods. I think they are the 1.6mm ones, just FYI. I tried using plastic glue, but they don't seem to melt, so I used super glue instead. And they stuck pretty well after filing them gently with a nail file. I filed the join flat on both points of contact and then rounded the other end of the lightsaber off a little bit to make it look a bit more lightsabery. Then I tried to give the models a little bit of a glow from the lightsabers, adding some strong red and orange around them. Maybe a little too strong, but never mind. I'm going to be distracting from that with even more glowy glow in these little poofy clouds of green Dathmiri magic. Starting by covering with some yellow, blobbing it around the clouds as well, and then mixing some of my UV nail pigment and Liquitex medium. I only had gloss medium to hand, but matte is also fine. These UV nail pigments, by the way, are really easy to find on eBay or Amazon or wherever you want. They're unbranded and very cheap. I also brushed this mix onto the surrounding area on the fabric and the base to diffuse the glow around the model. I decided to use some of the orange UV to form the glow around the lightsabers. And also some purple for the Magna Guard. And this is how they look on the battlefield. Without UV and with UV. Look, I know that you're very seldom going to play the battlefield with a UV light, but don't they look cool? I think they look cool. If you don't want to use coloured pigments during the painting, you can also actually use a clear UV pigment over the top. It looks white, but it goes on clear, and it doesn't change the appearance of the model in daylight at all. But then, bam, surprise! The UV light is on and they glow up and they look all cool and stuff. So now let's discuss the gameplay a little bit. If you've not played the game at all, then I would liken it to a very streamlined version of Kill Team or Warcry. It's actually way easier to pick up than any Warhammer that I've played. There are dice with symbols rather than numbers, which really helps to quickly calculate the successes and failures when you roll. I feel like once you've played it once or twice, you'll already be able to play it without going back and forth to the reference book. You just need to learn what the symbols mean and the keywords, and then everything becomes very intuitive. The movement is calculated with these movement tools rather than a tape measure, which also makes the turns faster. Just a tip for holding all these unique tokens and dice. I got this sewing box from Poundland for £1.50, which fits them all pretty nicely. Just a little hack for you there if you're in the UK. The most unique and exciting element to the game, I feel, is that momentum counter thingy, or struggle tracker, I believe is its official name. Every time you score points, you move the tracker towards your side, and the same goes for your opponent. But every time you wound a unit, or if the tracker is still on your opponent's side at the end of the turn, you gain momentum. So that means you're never out of the running to win, right until the last minute. Sometimes with tabletop games you can really feel like once you've lost your best unit, you might as well concede, because you just know there's no way you're going to score enough points to catch up. Here, when your opponent is winning, you get a boost on your own side. That means that if you are able to turn the tides, you have a real chance of catching up. I think that makes the gameplay so much more dynamic. I know there's a lot of different bits that go with the game, which makes it feel maybe more like a contained board game rather than a tabletop game. Only having to play with 6 models means you could quite easily just buy 12 guys, paint them up and store them in a box, and the game is completely self-contained. That makes it a good option for getting someone into tabletop gaming, maybe if they're a Star Wars fan and you've wanted to get them into some 40k for years, but that seems like a bit much. Shatterpoint could be a little gateway drug, perhaps. Okay, I'm rambling. If you have played the game and you want to know why I built my squads like this, I'm by no means a competitive player. I just chose these units because of the vibes, mostly. But I found that these two squads play very well together. Definitely more powerful than the current droid synergy squads that I also tried out. With the other squads, I felt like the support units might as well have not been there. They didn't seem to add anything great to the team. But with these squads, every unit synergizes and has their place in the game. There are both Dathmiri synergies and Separatist Alliance in this build, starting with Mother Talzin. In my opinion, the coolest model in the squad. She allows any Dathmirian unit to short move at the start of her activation, which means every unit in our team, apart from the Magna Guard, she allows any Dathmerian unit to short move at the start of her activation. That means any unit in our team, apart from the Magna Guard, which is a nice coverage. She also heals Dathmerians when they deal damage to your opponent's guys, and can move and attack when your guys get hurt. It's great to set up Savage Opress in between Mother Talzin and Asajj, because he gets to make a free short movement whenever either of your primaries makes their activation. So when Mother Talzin activates, Savage can make his short move, and then she can also get him to make another short move if you choose him as your Dathmerian to activate. So before he's activated, Savage can end up being halfway across the board, which is really useful for getting objectives early on. Savage is your main melee hitter, with protection and steadfast, and also a buff to his movement after he's injured. It's best to get him to an opponent's primary unit because he gets an additional 2 dice to attacking them, which can really make quite a difference. I think the Nightsisters are really good supporting characters, able to jump around and secure objectives and protect your other Dathmerians with 2 additional dice to attacking opponents who are engaged with your guys. Asajj is a strong melee unit and is able to deal quite a chunk of damage when she needs to, though her strongest ability is probably Force Push. You can spend 2 force points to push any character within 3 away. That distance is just huge. It can really set someone back a whole turn and totally flip the game if you can push someone way off their objective. I've been really impressed also with Aura Singh. She's a neutral character and she can take a keyword from a primary unit to add synergy to your squad. So having a Dathmerian keyword really helps to give us more options when playing, because she can now short move when you activate Mother Talzin or get other buffs just like your other units. She's our long distance sniper who can deal a lot of damage in one turn. She can shoot 2 different units if you pay a force, which can be really helpful, and her ability to add 3 whole dice to her shot if the target is engaged is just brutal. Flavor-wise, I see it as her blindly shooting into the fray. Your unit takes 2 damage from the friendly fire, but that extra recklessness might just be what you needed to wound your enemy and get the job done. Lastly, the Magna Guard were the best fit for the points I had left to build this team. They unfortunately got nerfed a little bit. You might have noticed that I have their updated rules printed out on the cards here. This is something you might want to take into consideration when you're playing. This is a living game and the rules keep getting updated, so what you see printed on the cards might not be the most up-to-date version of the unit. If you're playing casually and you want to keep it more of a contained board game style, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you want to play outside your house or keep up with the meta, just make sure to check Atomic Mass Games for rules updates. It's not something that's super easy to find, to be honest. You have to go to the unit updates on the supplemental rules documents and download the PDF. Magna Guard are still decent because they get to move a character when a separatist primary moves, which in our build is just Asajj. Mother Talzin sadly doesn't have that keyword, but they do still protect all of your primaries and secondaries regardless of their keywords. This makes them quite annoying for your opponents to have to smash through before they can get rid of your more important units. So overall, this team can move around quite freely. We have a balance between melee and ranged attacks, and we have a few tricks up our sleeves when it comes to manipulating our opponents around the board. And they feel quite resilient. I find myself almost always choosing to activate Mother Talzin with my Shatterpoint card, because it feels like almost having 2 activations, potentially having 3 units moving in one turn. At the moment, I think this is the most Dathmerian team you can have, with Maul not being able to fit as a 3rd primary. I know Morgan Elspeth is also releasing soon, but I believe she's also a primary. I would love to see another Dathmerian support unit so we could have a wholly Dathmerian team, but only time will tell. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments below if you've tried Shatterpoint and how you found it. Don't forget to give me a like if you like this video, and subscribe for more Star Wars and tabletop game content. Until next time, bye!